We move to a state where the father of the nation intervened. Let's now take you, of course, to Rivers State, where the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has nullified the 2024 appropriation bill of Governor Fubara's 800 billion naira budget, approved by a contested faction of the Rivers State House of Assembly. The court held that the budget was invalid as it was not properly presented before the Rivers State House of Assembly. The court also faulted Governor Fubara for meddling in the affairs of the state's legislative organ, which recognized Martin Amaewhule as the authentic Speaker of the Rivers State Assembly. Mr. Fubara had presented the budget despite political chaos and assembly complex demolition. Our guest this morning is a former member of the Rivers State House of Assembly and the PDP chieftain. We welcome on the show Honorable Collins Ordu. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, viewers, and thank you, News Central, for having me.
All right, I think my first question to you would be, first of all, to talk to us about all the drama that has gone on with the Rivers State House of Assembly. Thankfully, or not, the president did intervene and was applauded as the father of the nation for stepping in to sort of calm the drama happening. But it doesn't seem quite over, as the budget has now been, there has to be a fresh budget presented. So talk to us about the drama that has happened first, and if you foresaw that this court judgment was going to lean in this favor, in this regard.
Yeah, good morning once more, Nigerians. Yeah, I will start rather this way. In your news headline this morning, you talked about the issue of advanced people heading a nation, state, or an affair of a given task. And then in contrast too, we have where you elect a youth or the advocacy that youths should take over. You see, what is going on in Rivers State is trying to make me have doubts in the ability of youths handling issues. We in Rivers State took a different turn to say, okay, we don't want elderly people to manage our affairs. And then we brought in a youth this time around. But all that we are seeing is all the drama is unnecessary and regrettable. Let me go into the affairs and how it all started. We woke up one morning to see dramas upon dramas, and then questions and answers one way or the other. And to this point, the president of the nation called for a truce, and in that truce, they decided to put all grievances aside and move forward. But the ability and the commitment of the governor is, to say the least, I don't want to use derogative languages because we are still ensuing for peace, but it is most disappointing.
All right, tell a little bit more. What do you mean the commitment from the governor is disappointing? What commitment exactly are we speaking about here?
To be specific, you see, the president intervened and requested that they should go and implement immediately the faction, I don't want to call it faction, the people that are sympathetic, including me, and let me put it straight. Those who are sympathetic to the Honorable Minister of FCT, they all decided to sheath their sword and immediately implemented all the aspects of the president's 8-point agreement. But we see a lot of reluctance, sluggishness, disrespect on the part of the governor. I say in particular because he sent the list as one of the agendas. The commissioners who resigned were asked to be reinstated, and he sent a list to the House of Assembly. Promptly, the House of Assembly screened and certified those commissioners for swearing in. As I speak with you now, the sluggishness, the defiance, the reluctance of the governor to immediately implement the 8-point agreement is introducing crisis in all aspects of River State. People no longer discuss fruitful issues. It's one morning, you listen to radio, you listen to social media to see one event or the other. People are using themselves in reckless manner. I mean, I think that the governor should sit down and ask himself his achievements within this period in terms of peace, developmental, and human relationship. In all of this, he's scoring below average or zero. Let me say
the 8-point agenda, because now you're saying the way you're painting it is the Governor Fubara, who has been stubborn, and maybe he's been sluggish. The 8-point agenda, was that part of the things that was promised to the people of River State when any of these persons were seeking election, and of course trying to take over the affairs of the state? Is the 8-point agenda part of any constitutional requirement for governance in River State? Is any of these things meant to be the part of the legal framework for running the affairs of River State? The 8-point agenda we're speaking about here.
Anyway, you're not Governor Fubara. Otherwise, I would have asked you if crisis in his governance is part of what River State expected or expects from him. The 8-point agenda or agreement was brokered as a result of the crisis that emanated. And you cannot rule out what is called conflict resolution. There is an alternative to the court. And if for any reason there are crises and somebody steps in, takes his time, the time he would have used to do other things, to now step in to settle this matter, I think that every one of them who signed on behalf of River State and for the sake of peace. So this is part of what we voted for. We want good governance. We want safety. We
Honorable,
want peace.
Can we maybe go back to the root of this crisis that you're referring to? What was the root of the crisis? And does Nyesom Wike bear some form of responsibility in all of this? Because it seems that we've talked about the role of the governor and how the governor is not stepping up. But if there was no crisis, there wouldn't have been an 8-point agenda. So does Governor Nyesom Wike bear a huge responsibility in this conversation?
Very well. Governor Nyesom Wike is the leader of our party before the emergence of the governor. And as the leader, he beholds on him to make sure there is peace. Remember or recall that we asked Rivers people to vote for Governor Fubara, and we are duty bound to ensure Rivers people enjoy peace. So former Governor Nyesom Wike cannot and can never have rest if the man he appealed to people to vote in is causing a lot of crisis in the state.
But that's the question. So this is the question. What is the core reason for the crisis? Because when you say these things, it's a little vague. What's the core reason for the crisis, and what is the interest directly of Governor Nyesom Wike in River State and the affairs of River State?
Like I said, I was going to the core reason.
All right, let's have it.
Okay, like I said, it's his responsibility to ensure that the man he beckoned on people to vote in delivers very well, delivers in terms of peaceful river state and development. Then the cause of the crisis, like we were informed in the luncheon held early this year that was hosted by the former governor, Nyesom Wike. He told us that there were efforts by the present governor, Martin Fubara, to tilt or adjust the structure of the state. And this structure has to do with, River State is made up of 3 senatorial zones. Governor Fubara comes from one, the deputy governor comes from one, and the speaker comes from the third. So, and incidentally, that senatorial zone is where the minister comes from. So, and Governor Fubara wanted to impeach, was making moves. That is what Governor Nyesom Wike, former Governor Nyesom Wike, made us to know. That President Governor Fubara made an effort to unseat the speaker, to remove the speaker, let me use the language, to impeach him. And he saw that as an affront to his structure.
To his structure. When you say his structure, Honorable, when you say his structure, are you bearing in mind the fact that we're talking about the welfare, the governance of the people, that the people have a choice and the people have a voice? Because it does seem that we have now made Rivers State a property and a belonging of former Governor Nyesom Wike, who currently is serving as minister, and some will refer to it as governor of the Federal Capital Territory. Is it okay that he's manning 2 fronts? He's manning the FCT that is currently battling with insecurity and hasn't found a way around it yet, and still manning Rivers State and trying to decide what should happen. Are you in support of Godfatherism?
Let me tell you first. He's not manning Rivers State. You see, he participated in what snowballed into the emergence of Governor Fubara. Therefore, he needs to monitor him to the point where he will hand over to him that, look, the state is now in your custody. But where he begins at the initial stage to adjust what is in existence, that is what is causing this crisis now.
You still, we probably need to move on and talk about some other things, but I'm just still stuck with, how we are accepting these things as normal, that, he, engineered the existence or, of course, the victory of Governor Fubara, and so he has to monitor him, and make sure that he's doing things well. Governor Nyesom Wike is no longer governor. The structure that he has that you're talking about in Rivers State, that's not what Rivers indigents voted for. They voted for a governor and they want governance. You're talking about a structure of one man. And if his structure is seemingly threatened, then there will be chaos in the state, because that's what we have seen. That if his structure is seemingly threatened in the slightest bit, then there would be automatic chaos in the state and governance will have to be put on hold. Don't you hear how selfish this is for former Governor Nyesom Wike, and of course, those of you who are in support of what he has, allowed to happen in the state in the last couple of weeks or months? Doesn't it sound selfish? Doesn't it sound like, you are no longer interested in actual governance, but your own personal interest and the personal interest of former Governor Nyesom Wike? Doesn't it sound that way?
Yeah, no, you're getting it wrong. The reason why you're getting it wrong is the fact that, see, Governor Fubara was not voted in to begin to look at structures at this point in time. What we expect to do is deliver the dividends of democracy to the people, and then we'll proceed from there. But to begin to touch things that are not necessary at this point in time is what I'm trying to explain to you. That's called for his intervention, because you manifest into crisis. And this man is here to stabilize it, because without stepping in, by now, who knows what would have been happening in the House of Assembly if they would have been fighting daily for no reason. So what we expected was for him to deliver the dividends of democracy to people, and then we'll move on. So, but the issue of Godfatherism, if you look at Godfatherism, you should also look at those who benefit from Godfatherism. There is this adage that those whose canals are cracked by benevolence ought to remain humble. You're making it sound as if Godfatherism is a bad thing. It is not. It is providing the enablement for somebody who doesn't have the wherewithal to be where he wants to be. And then you assist him to it.
Okay, so that goes back to the earlier question that I asked you if you're in support of Godfatherism. So I take it that the answer is yes. All right.
Yes, of course.
Okay, that being said, what is the future? What is the future of Rivers State? All right. What is the future for Rivers State now, with the seeming disagreements between the current governor, the House of Assembly? What is the future of Rivers State? How do you foresee that all of this will play out?
Thank you for that question. I think that the truce, the 8-point agreement, former Governor Nyesom Wike and the Speaker have agreed to abide to it 200%, that Governor Fubara should go back and have a rethink. Let him remember the good things that were done by all of these people he's fighting now. Let him sit back and have a reflection. We're believing that something is wrong somewhere. That is why we're silent. We just can't imagine that all of a sudden, those who assisted you to be who you are you now turn around to want to stop any given moment. We're really shocked. And you go to embrace those who never contributed in any means to who fought you by all means. So people who said is bringing you because you're his cousin. All of this, I mean, there's conscience. Fubara should go back home and sit down and think, and let Rivers State be in peace. So
is this like a reward system for those who, assisted him get into office? This has nothing to do with governance. That's what you're saying. That, yourself and every other person who, is maybe not, on the same page with Governor Fubara, your interests are getting threatened, and Governor Fubara should remember, that, the reward system must not be tampered with. Is this what we're saying? And then also, second question, is Nyesom Wike your political godfather also?
You heard when I said so. Yeah, very well. Then I think that everything that we are doing now is a drama, and I hope and pray that it ends in the shortest possible time before we mess the state up.
So, but are you willing to mess the state up, in your words, if Fubara doesn't go back home and think, like you've said? Are you willing to pause governance in Rivers State, and then of course you continue the battle until Fubara decides to do what is right? Is that where we are?
Nobody is interested in making the state ungovernable. What we want is our interest in the fact that I appeal to people, please vote Governor Fubara. And if this is the result they are getting, I will be ashamed to go back to anybody to say, vote this person in. I'm trying to protect my integrity, and that is what everybody who is on the side of former Governor Nyesom Wike is trying to do. That's our interest.
Okay, thank you for putting it that way. By the time Governor Fubara's time in office is done, I'm wondering if you and the rest of people who go with this mindset will be okay with him then trying to decide who the next governor is and how he runs the affairs of Rivers State. Honorable Collins Ordu, thank you very much for joining us. It was great to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.